we're gonna need to come up. Like Justin's not playing Falling Titans anymore, but there was nothing in the Mark Tyner deck that was sufficiently funny. I thought about doing Gloomy Side, which is topical for a couple of reasons, but
Oh,
he might not
just for
appreciate like the angle of that art. So
You could do like default Smiling Titan attacks since he's playing 4x of that, and it works doubly
yeah,
so since he played Smiling Titan.
it's too similar.
That's fair.
I think has he been outspoken about anything in Godzilla is like his new thing?
Just Bio. He's like obsessed with Biolante.
Dude, I did not. I just pattern matched on Godzilla versus Beyonce that its deadlock was the power token deadlock.
Oh no, it's absolutely
What the
not.
hell is passing the torch also Champion of Linkway?
Big shrug.
Why does it turn into a insane backup power level? Crazy.
Unknown, but I guess they just really want people to play it. I guess they figured if they want Deadlock to exist, we should put it on Passing the Torch. They want to make sure that it will be present.
Yeah.
I'm down. Okay.
Yeah, so I guess maybe the ground that I'm trying to gesture towards in what was entirely pre-stream, I think at this point, was kind of like in terms of like predicting the outcome of a match, right? That you can have like the stronger player in the abstract, the stronger deck in the abstract, or whatever sense. Then there's both how the deck is pointed towards the two decks are kind of arranged to be ready for the other, as well as the extent to which the players have kind of specific practical experience and knowledge in that matchup. Especially now that I put in terms of experience, that's like
When do we get
very
cynical and put the die
transparently
roll
true.
in there?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it's in the same vein as like if you want to go to a tournament and you have a bad matchup, like your matchups are outside your control, and so you can just say I'm just gonna gamble and try to dodge it, and that's a acceptable practice, but you're prone to getting screwed or
Yeah,
whatever.
you're especially depending on the shape of that matchup, right? If it's a matchup you're more likely to face as the tables get higher, then that's a
Yeah,
problem, right? That's sort of the problem with a lot of these like DR prison type decks is that like as you progress in the tournament, you're more and more likely to face decks that do potato damage.
yeah. Certainly, the winners metagame is a really good
Yeah.
concept. I remember that way back in the MHA one days, I like made a big post of, oh, like one was winning excessively, and isn't that representative? Like, well, what's happening here? Well, I think it's that, to the extent that there are things that can give it trouble, it's they get filtered out by Hiroshima.
Justin is not here because he's got a debate thing. I don't know if there's a day that's more open for him than Thursdays actually is, because Thursday seems to be a 50-50 coin flip. But yeah, 10 o'clock p.m. on the dot, maybe he'll show up.
Yeah, we'll see. he did the thing that he consistently does, where he waits until day of to be like, I won't be here.
Yeah. I assume he finds out about these things in advance, but
I think that's hopeful thinking.
But no, we are late because I ordered food off Grubhub and it took an extra hour to arrive. That's why we're actually late.
I've had that happen. It's the worst when that happens.
The driver was sitting outside the restaurant for the full hour. I gave her an extra tip. I'm just like, this isn't
That's
your
fair.
fault. Like, this has to be awful.
Okay, it'll probably be
like formally
short
get underway
anyway.
here.
Yeah, go for it.
I was just gonna have you bring us in.
Okay. All right, cool. Hello everyone. We are Forchex Cast. Welcome to the stream. We don't have Justin tonight. He's busy with his usual last minute known to us.
Yeah, last minute debate tournaments that just impromptu. It's like a couple people were walking down the street and they started arguing and it became a tournament.
Right. But this week, I believe we're continuing where we kind of left off last week. We were kind of talking about rotation and impactful Godzilla cards.
Stuff we didn't get to, right? So we were just pretty much all worlds last week, and now we're post worlds.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
I-
tuned into Tam's Q&A session last week, and I thought there was a really excellent question of just in practical terms, how do you how do you deal with rotation? How do you adjust your expectations to the format? How do you transform your decks if you don't if you're not as privileged as I am, where you have every single card at your fingertips whenever you want? Like, what do you do with that? And I thought that was a really juicy question. There's a lot of angles to that if you want to take it on. Thank you for the subscription, helping me provide all of my infinite cards to build all the infinite decks that I will never actually build.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just vibe when it comes to rotation. I look at cards, and when I kind of start making decks like close to rotation, I slowly start to not include them. I'll obviously include like the good ones. Like I was playing Barrier Shield and Isla, but I was trying to cut down on the number of cards that were rotating, except for the kind of crucial ones, and that kind of just helps me. But I also just vibe with it in general.
Yeah, I'm pretty cold turkey when it comes to rotation. I largely don't think very hard about it until it happens, and then
Yeah,
there's some time to think about what this means. Usually there's a break in between the way things have been going. There's a break in between worlds and the first big regional or whatever. We have
Right.
LCs coming a little bit quicker this time, but I'm not one of those people. You'll see people in Discords asking about like, here's my post rotation deck list, and it's October,
Right.
and it's like, all right, hold on, chill out a little bit there.
It's like I'm glad you're getting ahead of the game, but we don't even know what
Yeah,
cards are in
if
the
it's a
first
like,
set.
yeah, if it's a like, my collection just started a year ago thing, that's different. But
Right. Also, Tim, I don't know how you guessed it, but I actually would probably make myself fighter jets if I win
Fighter
a
Jets is a
regional.
cool card.
I think that card's cool. Also, I would like to have a a properly printed copy that has the stamina on it.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier, Fighter Jets should have elusive. That would be so flavorful, but it'd be like the only instance of a keyword in the
oh,
set, so I get it, but so
that'd be
cool.
so sick.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And I'm just like sitting here thinking about like, could I do something like what funny thing could I do with combat submarine art?
Oh
I would love
god.
to be combat submarine.
Oh yeah, just have a picture of you looking at the submarine instead. If
or,
Godzilla.
or, or like me like at the like my face half submerged in water,
Yeah.
you know. But um, yeah, I think I'm generally with you, Tim. That I think absolutely if anyone wants to do whatever creative exercise of like I'm playing a deck with a constraint imposed on myself, that's actually a really good practice. But I think that I think it gets kind of fishy when people kind of take that too far and like, oh, I'm feeling coerced into getting like I need to get ready for rotation 6 months in advance. Like, play the game, dude. Like, the game's in front of you. There's a lot
Right.
of dope, even in like limited budget situations. Like, there's a lot of sick commons that are going to be rotating that you can get a lot of leverage from. And
Right.
conversely, there's a lot of cards that are missing that are very important, like structural pieces of the format that you just don't know about in October. You'll never know about in October.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
mean, we
just
were
like,
just talking about Godzilla vs. Biolante. Boy, that card matters.
Yeah.
You know. But
and yeah,
yeah,
a lot of times it's even very simple, like fundamental pieces, like, oh, how many symbols have e commit draw a card on a 2/5, right? Like, that's important to know about.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I personally, from a competitive perspective, something that you can do when it comes up is to try to evaluate where like the big C changes are. Like one of them certainly is the amount of asset hate that's out there.
Yeah,
Is for sure a lot less. I mean, not only because of Hacker, but also pass through walls and Kraken.
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually precisely the thing that like kind of hooked my interest in that question, and then kind of the conversation after was that I thought there was a really useful frame of it of what is leaving that had a constraint on the format. And
Yes.
so if you like assets like I like assets, you were sick of all those cards, and they are now being relaxed. That constraint is going away.
Yeah. Another. Let's see. What else is changed? Another big change. We were talking about this in one of the discords the other day. The amount of stuff that can like keep your foundation safe is a lot lower.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. Surprising skill is gone. Saving Bakugo, if you ever wanted to run that, is gone. If you look at the stuff, the cards that actually protect your stage right now, it's thin.
Mhm.
You get some like anti-flip protection that's sideways in the form of like Sensiso or whatever. But aside from Wide
Right,
Awake,
right.
the 2/6 that's anti-seal that mostly sees play because of Filled with Doubt, there's not a lot that you're going to see very much of, and it's sort of this weird upside down. It used to be before the KOF decks that Seal was like the safest thing, right? Seal was the one that was the most likely to go off out of all the ways you could go after your opponent's stage, and now it's possibly the least likely to work. So now, cards like Chomp go up in value. The destructive heat ray, the flip attack from Godzilla goes up in value.
Right.
Things like that.
And
Yeah,
not to
and-
mention, like, even Wide Awake is only available to like half the meta right now.
Certainly less than half. It's however many characters have the good symbol.
I was being generous.
Yeah, there's a new Anti-Destroy Foundation, but I don't think people are gonna play it until proven that it's needed, right? If Shin
Right.
Godzilla's running around making a mess all over the place, then maybe. But
Which
like
one's
in
the
the meantime, your
Anti-Destroy?
Chomps kind of run free. Right, there's no high value target would have rotated too, right? That was the League of Villains stamp on that
yeah,
reprint.
that's the extra credit back reprint.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then I think the third thing is the amount of like devastating hand trap actions is way down.
right. Yeah, the runaways, the barrier shields.
Showdown, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
barrier
Like
showdown,
we still have Filled with Doubt, but that's not as much of a blowout. Right? That's before
Right.
you've invested everything into this
Right.
attack, right?
And Sacred Guardian is good, but it's not it's not really a blowout.
Yeah.
Like my opponent plays that, I'm like, oh man, but I'm not upset like I was every time someone barrier shielded me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. There's it's almost like a literal rotation in a sense of that. I was thinking of back in MHA1, we had the anti-flip cards, the Struggling Studies, and the Schiller's
Oh
competitor.
yeah, right.
And so flips were terrible. Now flips are great, relatively unhated upon. There's kind of like one card or so, which even can be itself be target flip sometimes. And then I thought of Plus Ultra and of this anti-speed hand traps, which we're getting more and more of. There was an instance in Guilty Gear. There's one in this set.
There's two in this set, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like just the texture of what's going on in the format is just rotating. It's just changing, and it's kind of coming back in somewhat of a similar direction where blocking is kind of prioritized to an extent. I don't know if that's even playing around your opponent's hand traps is more of a form of they might have a mid block that can pass despite this thing, or the
Rising Uppercut maybe.
Yeah, Rising Uppercut, or the blocks that ignore face downs in the card pool.
Yeah,
of which there are a few, and if people are clogging the card pool of face downs, those might not be as effective as you'd like. And also just deflect too. It's another non-control check block trick or defense trick, I suppose.
There's like a decent amount of deflect in this set too, isn't there?
Yeah, there's like more deflect 4s than I've seen in one place.
Yeah, there are only 6 cards, but they're all like good.
Hedera is like an honest deflect themed character.
Yeah.
Hedera is probably. I wonder how many people are really going to go to work on that guy. I feel like we've had a pretty long train at this point of like every time somebody's kind of scared of the mono throw deck, it's just not real. Hedera is probably closer than we've been in quite a while to a guy that could run mono throws and be possibly something, but
closer than
he gets a lot by running like his deflect cards too that aren't throws.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think he's certainly a very strong incarnation of the aggro throws, right? Which is not per se like an aggro deck in the real sense of the term of like it's trying to goldfish you on turn 2. It's trying to beat you before you can ever beat it, but that it's playing like the little bit of mid range, but it's like the unstoppable mid range, right? It's like it's the juggernaut.
Right.
Yeah,
he's not going to chase you down the fastest.
You
but
you probably will be dead on 4 or something like that, right? So he's an interesting guy. Trying to think of what else. Oh, obviously like zero diffs in general. Zero diffs in general, taking a big slice out of them. I'm actually have a slideshow together. I'm gonna actually record and post a video, talking about the zero diff situation and sort of where we stand. I did one of these a couple years ago, and then last year we had all this attuned in the mix, and I was like, I don't know how I can talk about spam right now on like a per symbol basis.
Right.
But it turns out that all the zeros that matter in any way are not attuned, as it so happens, right?
Right.
So you can sort of go through this exercise of like what symbols, what options do symbols have that are better than high guard, low guard? How many symbols have like one choice that's like sure how many have like one exciting choice, how many have two choices. I have like one okay and one, then maybe if they're a certain type of deck they'll find one, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think at a very wide aperture, like I, I'm somewhat contemptuous of people getting obsessed with like power level rankings of like what's the best tech and standard type stuff,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of faded out for maybe a few reasons from the discourse too much. But ultimately, I think that's actually a useful guide for how to react to rotation, how to react, during an uncertain period of the metagame. Of that's kind of a guide of cards that get people excited, cards that you're likely to see in decks, cards that are likely to be powerful. These kind of all correlate with each other, and just paying attention to that and kind of trying to understand what's coming in that sense, and just like listening to people talk about the game can give you some insights into what the game will probably look like.
Sure.
And that's maybe hopelessly abstract to the point of uselessness, but I think of that in rotation, just like, I pay attention to Destructive Heat Ray because that sure seems like a very strong card that a lot of people are talking about, and people are even starting to complain about it and get sick of it. And there aren't necessarily a lot of answers to it, and all these things that correlate with being an effective card of the game. Or like Godzilla Titan of Terror is, how does he work? How does the power tokens work? What kind of good, like formerly good cards match up well or poorly into power tokens? This can be a just a fruitful angle to try to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the amount of like debate and discourse there is about how Titan of Terror should actually be built.
Yeah,
it's a cool character in that regard.
I think that's kind of the case with a lot of these characters. Like, obviously, there's some that it's like, here's the skeleton, add on to it at your flavor to your own preferences, but here's like the general skeleton. But like Titan of Terror, Ghidorah, Kiryu, like those characters have a lot going on for them, and I really like that there's just different ways that you can play them. I think we have like 3 Ghidorah decks in our team chat right now, and they're all like just different enough. I think it's really cool. I think that's the case with a lot of the characters in the set.
Yeah, I haven't thought too much about Ghidorah aside from like the one guy posting in Ghidorah in main court today. Isn't it like not bad questions, but like should I be just like this? Like should I be playing this card in this deck? And I'm like, I kind of just want to say like, yeah, I don't know, try it, right? But
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like
but like I tried to think about it. Like, all right, should you be playing true 100 in your Ghidorah? I feel like probably not. Right, like your best attack is a 5 difficulty Echo. This doesn't really seem to work together very well, but
right. Thank you for the Prime subscription, current world champ.
Hi, George.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're kind of soft segueing into talking about the Zilla set. So there's, I guess I haven't kept count, but I feel like there's a pretty decent range of characters that have, an amount of excitement. To use the kitchen metaphor, I can smell stuff in the oven for a lot of different characters right
Oh,
now.
absolutely. I like this a lot for the first set in rotation. That like maybe not all of the characters feel viable because I still don't know what the hell to do with Destroya because despite him being my
Destroya
favorite,
is just raw bad.
I
I
wish
hate
he
to
was
break it to
better.
any Destroya
I know.
fans.
I am in fact a Destroya fan. I understand his character is not good.
Yeah.
But otherwise, a lot of these characters seem very solid, and I think there's potential for most of them, and I think that's
Yeah,
really cool.
I've started to feel a little bit of the. I don't want to just say that it feels like Cowboy Bebop to me, but I've started to feel a little. Actually, I can concretely observe that like Mothra and Titan of Terror, I think, are two. They're kind of at the top of people's power rankings, and kind of really feel like that characteristic. Like these are sort of complementary ways of cheating, and like these are
Right.
complementary yardsticks you'll be measured against, and that these were probably tested and balanced against one another, and tested and balanced against maybe some set of other decks, Godzilla, King of the
The challenger
Monsters,
decks, yeah.
like
Right.
meta decks from what Standard was imagined to be, but that in the way of like a Cowboy Bebop, where the characters are actually balanced against each other, that's well designed in that sense, but that it's maybe a little bit
Bit of a step
more
up for
precise in my thinking.
Michelangelo.
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, yeah. What you mean, Mothra, Divine Moth being almost strictly better?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the same block
it's
trick. Yeah.
very close. Yeah.
Yeah, they have similar block trips. They have two of the three same symbols because Mikey only has two symbols. And I would probably argue that Mothra's enhance is just better than his.
Yeah, I've been Shin Godzilla mentioned in chat. I wound up playing Shin Godzilla for 2 of the 3 pre-releases. The third one was committed to just not playing Shin Godzilla. I played it in the other 2.
Right.
I like been trying to mull over a chaos, like a Shin Godzilla that's not under the death symbol, and try to
Mhm.
figure out what that looks like. Particularly because Chaos lets me play both of the hate their discard pile cards in one deck,
Right.
and that makes me excited. And one of those cards really wants damage from the character.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just want to try Shin for exactly one reason, and it's this the chrome.
pretty good reason.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Yeah. The proximate thing got me thinking of those super abstract thoughts of, well, like, how much is practice valuable to predicting the outcome of a matchup was me reflecting on the number of like joke way the hell out there meme decks, and like looking at a copy of my champ card and thinking, oh yeah, maybe that's what I should just play at all the LCs, is my really goofy, very sideways concept of my character that's going to be a mill deck. That might be it really has a clear concept of what it's trying to do. And then if I try to like play nothing but that going up to the regional and then like flinch into something else for the regional, this is probably suboptimal in some sense. And that I have this conception of playing every deck equally. I'm getting like way too much into no one else cares about this. I have done all of this a little bit because I also opened a conveniently an alt art Titan of Terror in the pre-release, and so now I'm locked in. I got to build a Titan of Terror deck.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I have built a physical Titan of Terror deck, so I will play that at least like the next couple locals, and we'll see where we go from there. I might be lame and just like take Nago to an LC because, haha, right? Just here it is. You've been playing against all these like beefy 6-hander experimental whatever decks. So here's a guy who's just gonna try to kill you.
Right.
Yeah, I really like the order cards that we still get to play. I like.
Yeah, he loses
and it's
very little.
Yeah, and at a certain level, I was playing Peak University, had a good time with like work really hard to do some damage, +2 damage, and have some other stuff up that bag of tricks. But the core of that deck really was, hey, I bet you're not holding up high blocks with these Thunder Spears.
Yeah,
and
right,
there's another character who can do Bloodsucking Universe in the Thunder Spear pretty good.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I'm curious to see. We might not know until we get LC. I guess we'll know with some LC data how much Nago catches on. Right? It seems like the sort of deck that a lot of people would pick up because the masses, I guess, purportedly, I don't know how true this actually is, but people like their just like slam damage aggro characters, and if everyone's looking at their challenger Godzillas that are losing Kraken and whatnot and be like, oh, I don't know anymore, but here's this guy that does 4 on everything,
right? That's also going to lead to a lot of disappointed people because they're not going to realize that the losing 10 health can be a real cost. They're gonna be like, oh, I can just kill you anyway, and then they're gonna whiff, and they're gonna be like, uh-oh.
Yeah, he's certainly not a reptile where you there's no wrong answers. You just mash your face on the table.
Right.
Kind of like Peak, actually, in that sense.
Yeah, I certainly believe that whatever the next wave of like, I don't want to say optimized, I'll just say like does well enough to become the default, because I assume like that KS package was probably pretty close to optimal, but in a lot of cases this sort of thing is like what wins first. Right, if a couple like Water Godzillas do really well in Chicago, suddenly that'll become the best Godzilla deck regardless of whatever anybody else has built, right?
Right.
But I would assume that the next like good list for Challenger Godzilla is still quite strong.
Yeah, I do think I remember I was somewhat surprised at Worlds that kind of everyone had a whole lot of Blue Flame Torments, and I remember way back last year, the last Nationals at that very venue, I played Godzilla and been very impressed with 4x Blue Flame Torment in my deck.
Yeah, I remember I don't know how many people were doing it before this, but I remember I was it was like a webcam event that I played Godzilla for, and I showed up to locals with like a 2x blue flame torment in my deck. I'm like, oh no, this is 4x.
Yeah.
After like one event, I'm like, no, we're playing 4 of these.
But yeah, certainly to the extent of just, there is innovation to be had with Godzilla. Certainly the door is open, right? We saw the one, I think Zach played just about the only Earth Godzilla, as far as I know, that put up results way back in Louisville.
Mhm.
But all that stuff, I think even the piercing thorn lances, that's still legal, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I think, Yari had the 3-0 start into 0-3 finish with Earth Godzilla at Worlds. So there was one around top tables for a lot of the day, but
I was
and
at
you
least
get
in the good people room for the entire tournament, except for like one round.
yeah. I'm imagining that there's probably an Earth build that's all lows except for Queen of the Monsters, and you have Queen of the
Plausible.
Monsters and Piercing Thorn Lance and like Smashing Stomp, and that's your sort of go that way.
Right. And then maybe some determined advances if you feel like it.
Yeah, if you really hate Biolante,
Yeah.
it's like no, take 6.
Hey, Violante and Rodan.
Yeah, true.
Also, Chaos Godzilla gets Corona Beam. That's kind of cool. That's targeted
Okay.
steel. Yeah, because since you're Godzilla, you're probably using your Enhance or Rampage, so you get the Blitz that gets you a power token, and then you can use the second part of the Blitz to commit that power token and seal one rival foundation, which is nothing to sneeze at.
I wonder about Vortex Godzilla too, because
That's still probably a good deck, yeah.
and I think that's on Earth that you get the power token charge beam. It's also a
Oh yes,
Yes,
that's
yes,
also a
absolutely.
fortune. That's true.
yeah.
Yep.
What what does that add up to in this character? Jesus.
A lot. Big
Yeah, so it's
number.
base 6 mid 9, stack 2 foundations, get 3 more speed, 6 more damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, casual 9 mid 15.
Yeah, and if you put like a destructive beforehand, as a casual 8 mid 19 after you flip something.
Also, you can kind of get away with playing the 5-diff foundation in that pretty well, the one that gives you a power token every turn.
Yeah.
And commits to make your next check +2. It's not crazy, but
And we could play a 5 difficulty foundation, or we could play a 6 difficulty asset in a world without hacker.
Yeah, true. Por qué no los dos?
That counts as a meme deck, I'm gonna say. The Cerritos Godzilla. But yeah, that was like last spring or somewhere in there.
Yeah. What else is it? I think there's a fair amount of like latent under the radar energy about Angrius. He's a weird guy because like he's a take hits sort of like if he hasn't taken any hits, he's very middling. But once he's like gotten in there and there's been some back and forth, he's got a lot of power tokens.
Mm-hmm. And like his static is just like sideways Godzilla, so he doesn't have the check lube on his face, but otherwise he's pretty similar.
Yeah, and it's kind of got the like he can kind of comfort, so like he can overextend a little bit, and if you try to just like let him up on the backswing but not kill him, you're making him much more dangerous to then backswing you.
Right.
And that's an interesting play pattern. It'll just be a complicated thing to work out in practice of how to navigate those games.
Yeah, try to hit him really good one time and then move on with your life kind of thing.
He gets the really cute commit X Foundations where X is your number of power tokens +1 with Shin Hashigeki.
Yeah, he plays a nice. There's Shin Hashigeki stonks are way up.
Yeah.
I've been
between him and Godzilla, yeah.
kind of just noodling like, yeah, I should play more filled without so that I can just fill without their Shin Hashigeki because there aren't that many other reasonable responses to that even almost.
Yeah, you basically just got to seal it. Right? There's certainly not a
right.
Like the current realm of Sun Hate is not that exciting.
Oh, and there's also you can also delete it from the card pool.
Yes.
They try to go in on it.
Yeah, I guess something you can do is run they put plus ultra on a Fortive. The 5 mid 3 Hedora attack that has plus ultra on it, which is kind of funny.
Yep.
I don't know what to make of that card. That card is like Like the stats obviously aren't great, but man, it's a good block.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
fantastic and sealed.
That's a good segue into another thought I've had, which was that I spotted that it has I believe, water and death symbols, which means it
Yeah.
shares 2 symbols with Ashley, and so you can play Genkai's training to make it a +0 plus ultra.
Oh, that's cute. That's so cute. I love that.
That is overkill, but yes.
Yes, it is overkill, but hey, maybe they're clogging your card pool or something. And maybe you're fully tapped out and already blocked 3 times,
Sure,
and
sure.
because actually pretty good at blocking. And I think it's a good segue because there's also all the champ cards, mine and Tyner and
Yeah,
Mitch
still
and
largely
Nick even.
relatively new. Yeah.
See, Nick Reagan Shinashigeki could be something. He's got at least one new after I'm removed card.
Yeah.
Do I need to share with him? I think a lot of them are Gigan. I guess Gigan has all.
Gigan does have all,
Yeah.
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 The copium combo I'm looking forward to having it slammed in my face that it actually just sucks is the Kiryu Foundation and Drive Parry. Just being able to
Oh,
block
yeah.
attacks forever.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's neat.
endless zero frequently blocks.
Yeah.
Plus 0 blocks. Yeah, that's hey, somebody's gonna do that. I don't like you're trying to like get a unique foundation out. So
Right.
you're either playing a lot of them or you need like a canister strike or something like that going on.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's pretty potent. I don't know how many. It feels like it's gonna be a lot of low attacks. I feel like that's a
Probably.
place we're going. I
I
think
hope so, because my Ghidorah deck does not have a lot of high blocks.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just like if Mothra's a presence and you're thinking about like Bug Bite being a double block, it's such a beating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very. There's a lot of things that are very polarized, and because I think the Mecha Godzilla Foundation. Wait, is it Mecha? It's Mecha because that's the one that if you're Mecha you get to you counter it when you check it, right?
Yeah.
That's the reuse blocks. Yeah, because there's that, and there's also I think Mothra has like 2 or 3 foundations that are cracked defensive resources. Like there's the struggling studies in there, um, and I'm blanking on. I know I'm blanking on something else with the order symbol. Because I somewhat was crashing out about this because I expected more of the symbols to line up when they're from the same character.
Right.
Oh yeah, right. The first of the year is not always like this, for sure.
Yeah, last year it was Yu Yu Hakusho, which is
No, last year was Critical Role, which like
oh right, Critical Role and then Yu Yu Hakusho before
yeah,
that.
I mean
right.
people liked Critical Role as a set. Especially after back-to-back Titan sets with like just those 6 attuned symbols, having a break from that was refreshing or whatever. But like
Right.
in terms of competitive characters, there was only like 3 at most that were getting looks really from that set.
Yeah.
It was like there was a bunch of effort on Vax, and then there was a bunch of effort on Percy, especially with combined firepower, and then Tarian obviously. I don't think
Right.
and you had a bunch of people show up with Grog, I guess, but there wasn't a whole lot of like competitive juice to that set. It was just like a cool set with really nice art, and people liked it.
Yeah, there might be
Yeah.
something to that because Yu Yu Hakusho does feel like it's in the same kind of category of all the character. Kuwabara wasn't juiced, but kind of a lot of the characters were quite juiced. We immediately had younger Taguro completely dominate the format in a way that I'm not certain that Titan of Terror won't. In kind of a similar dimension of he kind of had this radical freedom while in terms of deck building because he just had a very powerful ability and kind of filled in all your gaps. And then we saw this great diversity of how people built that deck. Oops, all canters, stuns, different symbols, or sorry, furies rather than stuns.
Yeah, I might be kind of here for I guess like maybe in 2 months I'll hate this, right? But I could imagine being here for a format where like if Titan of Terror is the best deck, that's probably a good sign kind of thing, where he can turn 2 the way anyone can turn 2, but he's not a turn 2 kill character, right? That's just not how he's constructed. He's constructed to be this kind of like value town. I'm gonna the more times I press my free 5 diff button, the more value I'm getting, so long as
Right.
the game doesn't go so long that that value gets watered down.
Yeah, he's more of an overhaul than a Tokiyami or
Yes,
something.
yes.
Yeah. And I think that will be kind of his balancing factor because he is also a 28 health character at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, relatively squishy, but a lot of agency in how you're gonna navigate your game.
Absolutely. And a lot of consistency, I'm sure.
Okay, I was just thinking. I was thinking of just Divine Defender plus Mecha versus or Godzilla versus Mechazilla because they happen to be lined up one after the other on the card
Oh.
search page. So they're both rares, and they have two symbols in common, which then are not quite overlapped by Queen of the Monsters. Because Queen of the Monsters doesn't have the order symbol because universes hates peak universes.
Yeah, maximum overall is gone from standard, but I'm sure they will have Hero 2 events throughout the year for anyone who.
My kingdom to have Tetra Terra Onslaught back. I didn't appreciate you enough while I had you. The Earth Echoes are so ass.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what was I was
like, Thermal Flare's good, and I'm like, no, that one doesn't have Earth. Never mind.
Yeah, there's some weird gaps. It's like was it Void Deadlock? It's if you don't want to run Can't Escape Me, is really sussy. Was something I was looking at. It that is real thin. There's a couple other gaps like that. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. There was something I was looking at. I think like some symbol just like doesn't have throws that are relevant at all. Like you just want to like pop a throw to get a momentum. It's just not there.
Oh, now I'm curious.
Yeah, there is. I think pretty much every symbol has a deadlock. Get a power token, but you have to be willing to play the face side of that card, which in a lot of cases means you have to be doing power tokens, and at least for Void, if you're not Space Godzilla, that's pretty unlikely.
Right. Is that cycle of the deadlock power tokens? Are those all on the where it's the other ability is sacrifice and some power tokens to do some effects? It's kind of symbol flavored.
They're all like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I saw a Titan of Terror list that just had a bunch of the like 3 or 4x of the. I'm thinking it is the Broken Psyche of power tokens. It's like stack 2 power tokens, put an attack to 1 damage.
Yeah.
And that's very strong, and there aren't that many of those floating around.
Yeah, I think this is circling. One of the things you can do, with a rotation is, at least with this year, I was sort of 20% joking when I was popping around different discords, being like, "Yeah, guys, I've never read a Turtles card in my life," and just like posting these Turtle cards that I was rediscovering as I was sorting my Turtles cards from August that I had never done while watching baseball. And there's a little bit of that with Critical Role too. Of like, there's a couple sets in this past year, those two in particular, that were kind of brushed aside pretty quickly in the mental minds of competitive players, and partly for symbol reasons in some of these cases, and partly for like keyword mix reasons, and partly because like there was something else better to play. But I mean, there's cards out there like Carnival Barker, right, that are really good, and it can be worth just like thumbing through those sets, on Ultra or in physical cards, and trying not to glaze over things and just be like, wait a minute, right? That this card does have text, and maybe there wasn't anything there a year ago, but let's look at the current stuff and see what we can do.
Right. Also, I just looked at throws on each symbol. Evil and good are pretty bad about it, but obviously evil and good. But Void has like exactly 2. One of them is Potemkin Buster, so that's okay. But the other one is Nesh, and that is literally all you get unless you want to run Colossus Titan attacks.
Yeah, there's no like toss a forward if throw.
Yeah.
The way I like my cheeky little forward if throws.
Yeah, I'm a huge slave to face shield effects, and so I just immediately think of my favorite attuned 1 mid 4, deflecting push or redirecting push.
Yeah, that's
all attuned.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, like, the beauty of attune is that every symbol potentially could be solving any given problem. It's just that you have to be the right character to be able to take advantage of that.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. We were going
looks like
somewhere before
check support.
I tangented us onto Turtles cards. Did you know there's like Keiko's Aid on a 5 difficulty 5/5 stun too? Like that's a card in
Oh,
Turtles.
from Turtles,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's like a Keiko's Aid and then a not so Keiko's Aid.
Right. Yeah, there's 2 of them. One of them is just worse than the other.
Yeah, one is Keiko's Aid and one is like you don't end your turn if you fail his check.
Oh yeah, well, one has the evil symbol and the other one is like the Turtles card.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Right. Third symbol onto all the AOD characters.
who were we talking about? I remember I told someone that I think they were building an evil deck and they were trying to answer a rival foundation, and their options were like legitimately attune cards, or there was a single way to target flip something with jumping through 3 hoops. And I told him, I'm sorry, like the evil symbol is actually just the cartoon villain of the week, like Dr. Robotnik's crazy, like hatching a crazy scheme symbol. Like the actual like take your opponent's toys away, or like the death, like the skull symbol that represents the end of life, and the symbol that's the cosmic indifference of the universe around us, and the void that surrounds worlds. Those are the symbols that can actually take away your opponent's toys. The evil symbol,
Right.
you gotta make a trip on a Lego to ever have anything bad happen.
Yeah, I certainly can't think of any evil cards in that space. Again, like evil and good had a rough run of having sets that exist for a while there.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of self mill, I haven't seen a lot of heat, for lack of a better word, for Burning Godzilla, which I don't know if it surprises me too much. I feel like that first Endeavor never really got a whole lot of attention, and
Right.
this is sort of in a similar shape.
Yeah, he can absolutely kill you, but I think it comes down to trying to figure out your deck size, and I think a lot of people just don't want to bother with that.
Yeah, so you actually just like you don't literally lose the game, but you're in a bad way if you cycle for sure.
Right. And especially if you just happen to be playing against someone who's playing all this new cycle luck stuff. I don't know why they would, because some of it's just like spam foundations with only the cycle lock ability. But then you get stuff like Mikasa's Fatal Cleave that will just actually make you sad if you've cycled.
Yeah, there's nothing really out there. I guess there's like not in a couple of the kind of bad thief cards, but in terms of it actually forcibly enabling those and shoving your opponent to cycle,
Yeah, I
that
did
could be a space.
Yeah,
but
I did at one point look at like not 2, and she has like suspiciously 3 of the weaker cycle lock cards. And I'm like, this might be on purpose.
It's kind of a space where it probably feels. I mean, it certainly like famously feels bad to get milled out, right?
Right.
And people really hate seeing their cards get flipped over, and then I don't get to use that to my discard pile now. And so I think it's probably tuned to, not inflict too much suffering on the populace, even if it were trying to be competitively viable. George, please don't make another Nick Reagan. Anything.
I literally made the same joke in chat.
Like, it's not good. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for you. It's not good for the game. It's not good for anyone. Please don't balance yourself around burning out fast. Think of the future. Hey, you have a future.
You still have a future ahead of you. Don't do it.
Life is worth living. You don't need to bill yourself.
I didn't mean to set that up, but that was so good. I think the character I've seen the biggest gap in is Jet Jaguar.
I don't know how much everyone is ironic about Jet Jaguar.
I
think
I've seen 40 attack, like 20 foundation Jet Jaguar, Jesse Cervini meme dream type lists.
Oh my god!
And we have people in chat saying, "Well, my Jet Jaguar just forces you into deadlock because that's something he can do."
It is,
and
yeah.
Like, yeah, those are 2 very different decks.
It's peak, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Hey, he's crazy good in boss battles, apparently, according to Nick. If you do like 3 of hit, or if you do like a 4-player pod with 2 Jet Jaguars and 2 Anguirus, the Jet Jaguars just build extra foundations for everyone, and then the Anguirus just stockpiles power tokens to murder the boss. It's very silly. And Jet
Yep.
Jaguar also gives all of your attacks, everyone on the team's attacks +1 damage. It's very cute.
That is a way to play the game. That
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
can certainly be optimized.
Yeah. I also don't really know what to make of Jet Jaguar, just because like it is +3 to a check over the course of a turn, and that's something. You have to find everything, and you're like getting free foundations, but so are they. So anytime it's possible to make a 40 attack deck, that's at least a little scary in its own right. Is it actually good? Is it winning any earlier than anybody else? Probably not. Right? It's probably killing you turn 3, turn 4, just like any other deck that's attacking a lot. I am yeah, I'll take J-Maker. I think that
J-Maker-
works better than Jumper Cut.
That's fair. I do not like Jumper Cut. J-Maker is cool. Also, I like that card. I like J-Maker.
Gonna slightly modify it as now the J Walker.
No.
No, J-Maker's not bad. I too like J-Maker. That should shock nobody. I'm trying to play that card and then Showdown in the same deck, so.
I'm
Daniel, stop playing Rando Gun. Stop playing characters with Rando Gun just because they can.
Fine, makes them happy, go for it.
You see if I find 1 speed, now it's a 7 mid 8 Hog Champ.
Which card?
Oh yeah. Rando Gun.
Oh
Jet.
yeah, right.
He gives it damage, you just need a speed.
All right, fine, George. I'll allow that.
Yeah, this is the 3-check
milling
podcast.
out.
This is the podcast for all those attacks that have like 7 or 8 difficulty, and you think they're 4 checks, and then you look in the corner, it's a 3.
Oof. Oh, I don't like that.
Thinking of Armored Titan Rush on the mind a little bit lately.
Speaking
What
of
are
news,
war chiefs like these days?
They probably aren't playing Combat Submarine because they're cowards.
You say that. My local is trying to build the all infinity deck with War Chief.
I think that actually no, like legitimately Combat Submarine, Rock Throw, Female Titan is a good package. Like that is powerful little block of stuff to be doing.
Right.
If you start from 6 infinity cards, you slap your 7th down, you give your Rock Throw 4 damage, and then untap it and get a 5 difficulty, effectively, your Zeke. I mean, you played an 8 with plus your check, and you untap your Combat Submarine. It's a 7 hyper 11.
Oh,
These are
sure,
numbers.
sure. This is how Female Titan came in here. I was like, what's
Yeah.
Female Titan have to do with this?
Yeah,
that
we're
makes sense.
untapping Combat Submarine, and now like 7 high 11 is legitimate 7 diff stats before it's even drawing a card or having a backup side. Yeah, I like Armor Titan Rush a lot. I like all of the set 3 Titan cards are 3 checks. I mean, they're like, Falling Titans and Resurrected Titans type stuff that kind of deserve it, but
Yeah.
it's distressing nonetheless. The Rumbling is a 3, I think.
Oh man, I'm just like glancing at Godzilla cards, and I remember how much I hated this during Limited. But how do we feel about Tail Trip in OG Godzilla? That is an 11 damage throw in that dude.
I looked at it and remembered sometimes sideboarding, but never actually playing the 1 mid 8 throw, and deduced that I probably wouldn't play Tail Trip in Godzilla.
I mean, that's fair. It does also have stun, Deadlock Stun 3. That's something.
Yeah, it's sure not nothing. I think the 5 speed low is not an irrelevant amount of speed.
Yeah, that is a number for sure. I'm glad they keep printing big stupid throws. Right?
It's also low, which is relevant for that Godzilla.
True.
We can turn it into momentum.
Like I'm glad they printed Horse Toss. I'm glad. I think there was like a 6 difficulty 7 damage throw somewhere in a recent set.
I don't know. I just see 8 damage on a throw, and it gives me PTSD from Libero Souls.
Water Prison.
I know this is worse, but
Earth MMM Biolante.
Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
like queen of the
he's-
monsters to
yes.
build the MMM? Is that the joke?
Yes, that is the joke. Because you can play an
'cause
attack.
you put
You
it
can
in
play
your
an
card
attack,
pool face
enhance
down.
with enhance with Biolante, put it in card pool, build it down with Queen.
Literally go pick up the queen of the monsters
Yes.
with Biolante and then go build it.
It's certainly cute.
That's certainly something that you can be doing.
Yeah.
It does like give you a path to killing people with your character that tutors for all the attacks it needs.
Yeah, I think there's maybe another interesting direction from my aimless wandering about what's important in the game. Or maybe a tangent and like thinking of Mothra and Titan of Terror
This
as
is the
sort of
tangent podcast. It's fine.
as two of the poles of the meta. I'm thinking of the people were talking about Violante and sort of the extent to which people are trying to play a DR prison deck versus sort of a mid tempo thing that it gets you dead, but it gets certain advantage states and it gets you dead. And almost I just think of one thing about the metagame right now, it feels like, is that it's very unsettled what is important, right? When Godzilla's the best deck in the meta, it's important to be able to play around getting letting him walk the dog you, right? It's important to have some semblance of zone coverage, but mostly be ready to block lows, right? Like thinking of like the World King of the Monsters decks. And my theory, in this may or may not be entirely correct, but I think that people were more worried about Mikasa when they were worried about aggro decks going to Worlds, and they weren't preparing themselves to fight Godzilla. They weren't preparing themselves with the speed hate that lets you block a walk the dog with any efficiency whatsoever.
Yeah. I think Godzilla certainly, came through a crack in the wall kind of thing, where like, people's priorities were on, Mikasa and probably like some mix of Deku and Tyner, and maybe Rodan or whatever. But like Godzilla was, I mean, I don't think it was this podcast. It might have been on like a Chris Smith stream that I joined, and we were all talking about Godzilla. So like, yeah, it'll be the most represented in day one. I don't know if anybody's really going to show up with it on day two. It'll be there, but you've seen Godzilla, like
it's a very comfy, easy trope. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Whoops.
I think people forgot that character can just kill you in 3 hits if he wants to.
I mean, it's on theme.
If he draws it, yeah.
He always comes back when people have sort of moved on and forgotten about him. Then he comes out of the ocean.
Incredibly thematic stuff. And so I think in a real sense, no, it's not even that like what he does. It's that you to have a good Godzilla matchup, you have to make trade-offs against other matchups and so it's an extent to which you think that's a big part of the field versus something you can just try to dodge. Right. And I think it feels like this is kind of the characteristic of the metagame right now, right? There have been a lot of metas where you can build a very cohesive deck that doesn't have any weaknesses and has some game plan and is kind of breaking the game in some particular way. This has been what I try to do, through my history. And if you can find one of those, it's awesome. You get to go win tournaments. You get to crush things. But I'm not sure that's the case anymore. And I think that every deck sort of has things that it's afraid of that it can, if I build, I say I'm playing King of the Monsters and I tell you, hey, you're building 5 Godzilla characters from Reign of Kaiju. You're trying to beat me. I bet you can credibly solve that in 5 distinct archetypes, right? Mothra can do it one way, Titan of Terror can do it one way, Violante can do it one way. Like there's a lot of things out there, a lot of angles to attack me from. And almost like part of one way to approach this is to say, well, what do I think is good, and then be metagame against that. What do I think is going to be popular metagame against that, and like place my chips like that. Or you can just try to be as coherent as you can and not get hit, like try to dodge the super popular Scales of Juno hate or something.
Right.
But it's a different flavor of metagame, it feels like, than the ones where you can actually solve it with the right answer. It's about kind of reading what other people are doing, finding the angles to attack things that aren't being defended against necessarily. And to concretize that another way, I think of this with Violante, where if you can goldfish 100 damage to Violante, you will probably body that character.
Right.
If you can answer referee jury against that character, versus if you can't, it'll be a big swing in your matchup percentages.
Right.
And so, like, is it important to have those answers to referee jury in your deck or not? Well, it'll depend on how your matchups go. It'll depend if you plan to be
Yeah,
on
how
or
do you
not.
feel about Bellante actually being in the winner's metagame?
Right.
Right.
Whereas, how many people are gonna be on a power trip because they stormed their local Mothra players with Biolante for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then they show up and here's a string of power token decks.
Yeah, and well, I think we've certainly seen. I think of even just like Godzilla into like Hanji, and actually either Hanji, like I guess the set one or set two Hanjis of the AOT, where it was really the legitimate thing where you would get down a couple 9 times throughout the ages, a couple a greater goal or whatever, and the Godzilla decks of that era were not like well, Godzilla decks of every era pretty much have been like these chaos decks that are not investing their stage into adding damage to things. So they say, oh, I have printed 9s, I have powerful 3 walk the dogs, I don't need more damage. And if you actually just attack the damage, you could actually get a lot of equity. You could make their life very difficult to navigate those games because they weren't prepared to fight on that axis anymore. So I do wonder broadly if, I think it's an easy answer to say, oh, the power token player gets to play around it. But if their power tokens aren't counting very high in the first place, maybe you have to, like, if you can't get through the big wall of just face downs in the card pool damage reducts, then you have enough luxury to play around the referee jury either. It'll be interesting to see how this plays all out in any case. It'll be hard to predict.
Yeah, it's always, I think an inclination I always have is to try to identify like where the extremes are, right? Like if someone's full sending DR Prison, what does that look like? If somebody's full sending block heck and everything, what does that look like? If someone's full sending kill you onto, what does that look like? And if you handle those things, then you can have like pretty good coverage, but then even then sometimes there will be a sideways like Foundation Prison deck or whatever that you weren't super planning for that comes out, right? That was sort of a new feature at this Worlds, was a lot of people playing literally Imprisoned, the card named Imprisoned, and
right.
You had a couple different order decks trying to just choke your foundations out, and we're gonna see even more of that with Kiryu, I'm sure.
I'm excited for that character. He's 2
Aside from
damage
just,
on an
like-
attack.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Sophie,
and then and then commit if it's completely blocked, which you can do on both turns.
Yeah, you have to give their attack 2 damage. So you kind of tell them, I'm going to full block this, and then if you succeed, you get to stun them. If you fail, you took 2 more damage.
Right.
But, yeah, that character is kind of growing on me too.
He's really cool.
Having a second hand and having like getting to check like bing bong into your insane block trick is kind of awesome. And then it's a matter of, well, how do I actually convert this to a win? And that's a task that can be determined.
Right. He's also like very similar to Nagoriyuki, where like it's not as big of a damage, but you don't lose health. You don't commit their character, but you commit multiple things over the course of a turn. Like,
it's an interesting angle I hadn't thought of. Yeah.
Yeah, you can certainly play Thunder Spear, and
Yes.
every time they block. Yeah.
And you can play Bloodsucking if you just want to have a throw tension. That card is just good.
Yeah, Orders kind of has this feel of, I mean, I guess like the Tyner decks weren't doing it, but this like Bloodsucking universe into Thunder Spear Barrage and like associated moves feels like a sort of package that can go in multiple decks in a way like I don't know if we've had a lot of that in the past year or two, where like here's this group of cards on symbol and these 5 different characters on that symbol that you might see running it. It's sort of been a while since we've had that, I think. Like maybe Void Punches.
Yeah, I think it's similar to that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, because I think a lot of it's been, I mean, some fraction of that is that we had the a density of the recent stuff in Standard was attuned,
right?
Pure attuned to AOT stuff. And so even if it was like Hanji and Zeke or like War Chief are both playing like the same life deck, or like Zeke set 2 Zeke that was also Fire and Life, but then just had different incentives to build a deck. And this guy could combat Submarine. Ooh.
Yeah, and there were those were like, those felt more specialized than like, yeah, man, I don't know, here's a throw and here's 12 damage out of an Echo move.
Right.
Yeah, I know Jeremy's given a couple given a couple interviews, and kind of I had this same topic come up of sort of that they're trying to bring back both they listen to the player base and says we like classic symbols, and that they're trying to kind of catch up a little bit on the the alls, the goods, the evils, and give them some just high quality cards so that they can sort of be on a more level playing field with the AOT stuff. And like some of that's that you get very powerful cards. Like, I think Budget Sinking Universe is a crazy good card.
Yeah.
Like, compared to the other tension attacks, I think I'm not gonna just like blindly say it just stands alone, but it is a 2 symbol tension attack, and it has like 4 good abilities on it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've kind of wandered around like half the characters in the set. They're pretty good. There's, I think others are like mostly harder to talk about, right? Like nobody knows what to do with Batra really, right? Like Gigan's a guy. He just kind of puts stats on things. We talked about Dora a bit.
Gigan is just like aggro on those symbols. Batra is aggro on theoretically
Batra's,
air, so you get access to Giant Moth or Electric Moth, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he has 2 other good
Readies
symbols.
himself.
But, like,
Do you really need an attack to do that?
I mean,
like you get Defiant Stance, so
you get to play Seal Support. Like it's
that's probably what he's doing,
right?
But that's one of those where like until you like sit down and play with or against it, you probably don't have a good read on how good that character actually is, because commit 1 foundation conditional on an attack hitting is a weird cost to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
But he could be another one of those like Order Foundation prison decks for sure.
Let's see. Daniel Gigan is like a slightly different Bionic Miss. I would say probably a little better. Like, you draw so many cards with that character, but you don't always get the +2/+2, and you're not milling yourself as hard.
Yeah, Gigan's on hit, draw a card, and then unless you've lit them up already, you have to discard a card.
Yeah.
So it's cycles. And it's on hit. So it feels very, I think that
it's like on either player hits, I think, right?
Yeah,
it's after an attack hits, yeah.
So if you get them down to 15 and then pass the turn, like you get to have a very full hand while they're trying to backswing you, which isn't necessarily terribly valuable. But I don't know. I think I'm like blackpilled on the value of drawing cards. Like draw 1 card is exciting because it might be the attack you want, or might be the block thing you want. But like it's really like 1 and 3 to be that. And like if you draw 3 cards, you might think that's like 3 times as good as draw 1 card, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, drawing a card is nice when you actually just want anything, right? When it's like the turn 2 poke and you're committing Godzilla vs. Biollante to draw a card. That drawing a card's great.
Sure.
Like, you almost don't care what you get. But if it's like, this is my plan for killing somebody, is I'm going to draw 2 extra cards and that'll get me there.
Right.
A little dubious.
I gotta build Pony, guys. I've got to finally do it. I gotta finally do it.
Yeah, right. Like every so often, I like remember that character exists.
Dude, she can't hog off forever, but you can like you can flip your whole deck over and draw all 4 Queen of the Monsters.
Yeah, it's.
Who needs to pay 3 Pony tokens to clear my card pool? Honestly.
How many like bonus check passing for? I guess you're building a foundation every time you play one, so it's fine that it's 6 difficulty.
Yeah. And this is a ±2 speed character on face, so that's like worth something.
Yeah.
This is why I was thinking of Earth Echoes, by the way, was that I want to play.
Oh yeah, I want to play an Earth Echo and a Pony. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alas.
We got to scrape in. Forcing Surrender is gone, but we have Forcing Surrender that draws a card now.
True.
Storm of Air is an Earth one. Can we work hard enough for that?
It is. They exist. Actually, I haven't thought very hard about that. I have thought a bunch about Storm of Air as Mikasa, because Air has a decent handful of pretty good ones, including Avitor's Creation.
Yeah, I just remember how like non-impressed we were when Field was trying to do Storm of Air's Pony for a minute, and that kind of takes me off of that. But
yeah, I mean that was. Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I think that Storm of Air's Mikasa feels like a different flavor of things.
At least you're putting damage on it.
Yeah. And in Pony, it's kind of like it's probably like a couple bridges too far. Oh man, I just gonna play Team Hero and Pony. Like, what's the coolest Team Hero stuff you can do these days? Jesus.
I don't know about it's not cool, but you just grab Batra arrives.
Which one's it?
It's the
Oh, it's on my
we power
screen. So I looked at Patra.
we power crept Chester's backing for some reason card.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because people have been saying it's like a Power Crypt Legacy card, and I felt like it's not Lost Memories. Lost Memories destroyed
Right,
it.
right.
Right.
No, it's Chester's
No,
backing.
this is Chester's backing for one less control and 2 worse block mod.
Yeah, you don't gain 2 health, but you do shut the thing down for the turn, right? It's Chester's backing that would have worked against higher caliber.
Oh yeah, true.
To just get real boomer.
So like, I mean,
but yeah, I mean,
do
obviously
think
the comparisons to 2008 don't like mean that much these days. But it is
Right.
funny to frame it that way.
It might just be that we have to give up on having a stage. Just surrender. Just it's over. We have our character. We have our broken ass cards we're playing from our hand.
Doesn't hit assets.
Top deck the good ones. Yeah, assets are safe. We can asset our asses off. Tyrion. Huh, yeah, okay. Back to Tyrion. Yes. I gotta
So many ideas.
Dude, my freaking boat might be safe. I might be able to play Cerritos in everything. Maybe I just need to be a Cerritos, man. I just need to embrace it.
Yeah,
Donnie Cerritos.
I haven't heard anyone trying to build Luna Ring decks lately, so
That card sucks. It's never good. It was okay. And is Mirko still legal? Mirko's still legal.
there's I
Right?
think that Mirko's
Yeah.
still legal, yeah.
Yeah, the good one.
Yeah.
I liked the like flip checky +- one, but
I
never
thought that one
actually
was
built it.
I thought that one was fairly solid, and then MHA one
She had
rotated,
cool
so she lost a
symbols.
lot of the good stuff.
She had really dope symbols. That was like the knockdown blow deck of my dreams that I never. Yeah.
Oh, Titan Stone Knuckles? Hell yeah. Like that one.
Yeah, Titan Stone Knuckles is cracks.
I don't even remember what that card does.
It says if anyone ever blocks, you get to target destroy an asset.
Oh yeah, that is pretty good. Fair enough.
Yeah, and in the meantime, it gives you a chance to convert foundations into damage. It's quite good. It's hasn't seen a lot of play probably for symbol reasons, and like people don't want to play through difficulty asset
Oh, it
reasons.
has-
But
100% simple reasons. Yeah.
It is 100% Titan of Terror symbols. Gross.
Yeah, I think even like certainly a space. I guess I kind of brought up just blocking, right? Speed hate. We don't have barrier shield anymore.
yeah,
we don't have
there's not a lot of huge speed hate.
like
We have
if you
substitute
want
member,
to substitute.
and then we have normal C. Substitute member's the encouraged
yeah,
stream, right?
that's
three,
three.
yeah.
Yeah. Substitute
That's a
my
good
member. I love that one. Yeah. That is a real ass card. And then also the block trace and set to 0. But even just like I think it's an interesting case of just like commit -2 speed. Once upon a time, we loved those. I feel like there exists commit -3s or like things in that space. Certainly like flip
Resting up.
-2 is like resting up some commit -3.
Yeah, I
the
think
Best
there's
friendship and the 1/5 ally vestige.
yeah
Or,
one
like,
of
flip
my
-2s and -3s.
one of my post-mortem thoughts about Peak was there's like a death 1/5 flip -2 speed that I had in my early builds that at some point I had cut. That probably should have been in there.
Yeah, certainly this has been on my mind a little bit of, and it's kind of the space. This is another direction that gets me thinking of that kind of very abstract, like, well, what's important in the metagame stuff. Like the peak deck kind of skirted on speed hate and said, well, if I'm fighting someone who cares about speed, I'm going to be able to turn to my backside and give them -3 and then fight over it that way a little bit, which is very painful and costly. And if you're like gambling on checking 5s while stacking your stage, it really sucks.
Right.
And oftentimes, it didn't have a ton of didn't have 0 block mods coming out of the ears or anything either.
Yeah, that's sort of that's how it got in there in the first place, and then somewhere in the long proceeding of like putting the deck down and then picking it up and then putting it down and then picking it up, somewhere along the way those cards fell out, and I never really spent enough time looking to put them back in.
Yeah. and maybe the Rodans of the world. I guess there's certainly still like incubating, clear my card pool stuff. The Rodans of the world can stack up a lot of that and say I'll be able to pass a lot of my blocks, even if you're putting decent modest speed on stuff. But I think a lot of people are just playing not necessarily just like raw aggro decks, but just decks that are spending their foundation slots on things other than speed aid,
Right.
and things other than zone coverage. And some of that's that there aren't necessarily good options available for these kind of
I like
categories of
Funky
things.
Breath right now. That's a Turtles card that I never read.
It's a Turtles card that I don't remember reading.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up too.
It is just a flip -2 speed, but it has the backup functionality of if you're just getting whooped, you can make them commit one and hope that helps.
You have to fail the check. You can't just say if it's not blocked.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and this is to some extent, this is just like Peak Universe and stuff, right? Where you can choose, you have the agency to choose what you want to fight against, what you want to not lose to. There's a huge pool of options. There's a huge pool of this has Water Tune. If you want a low block on your flip -2 speed, as opposed to I think it's Fourth Wielder that's actually an Omni block, but it becomes effectively a +3 Omni block, or as a +2 mid, or Fast Friendship that can be -3 sometimes if you have more base sounds than them. But then as a 3 high block, it isn't attuned on water. It's got 3 real symbols, 3 classic symbols. This is just the shape of the field a little bit. And it's when people say, "Oh, like what do I, what should I put in my deck?" It's like, well, there's a million options that are not really better or worse than each other. It's can you make a holistic presentation of what you're trying to accomplish with this deck, and that we can measure it on those terms. But there's not really a abstract criteria of what makes a good deck anymore.
Yeah, although the wider the meta gets, right, the more interesting it is to be the the toolboxy guys like the Titan of Terrors and maybe to some extent the Violances if you're building it that way.
Yeah, and certainly everyone's still playing universes, and I think one of my big ideas, and kind of going back to what you brought up, of sort of measuring what are the most extreme decks, right? What's the hardest wall deck, the fastest turn 2 kill deck. It's good to like build those. Almost I feel like a thought experiment. But unless you're really certain you're doing something very like you're really cooking, like I think I might be cooking with this Kevin Burberry 3 mill deck. That's often not a good strategy to bring to a tournament, because if you're actually polarized all the way into one extreme, it's relatively easy to like just flip by, get one more turn, and like to have anything go wrong. And then if you're fully committed to all in offense, it doesn't take very much to kill you, right? You're not defending at all. If you never block once, that's gonna lead to disaster. That's gonna lead to like very easy kills for your opponents. It makes the game easy for your opponents. Actually, maybe a good way to frame it.
Right.
But if you do, you block once, you maintain the threat of blocking once. This is really what I think Godzilla did very well. Is that he had that range where he could just put his hand on the table and say, "Yeah, 30 for me," but in the average case, he would contest a block zone. He would be able to pass one block. He was pretty good at passing one block, even with the +2 from his face, even if you're investing in speed. And having a little bit of that optionality is very powerful in the game, and making the game hard on your opponent is
Yeah, and Justin's not here so that we can give him crap about all of his full send DR wall decks that don't kill anybody. But it's the same thing, right? It's
yeah, and I think that I certainly think of I remember that Hanji deck. Like my comment on it was that this is a deck that thinks it's the best deck in the room. I'm not confident that it's wrong, right? It's that 4x Flying Titans, 4x B-side attacks, like that can get the job done sooner or later.
True.
Yeah, unlike whatever that Mark Tyner was doing that he wound up with 3 draws, including a 0-0.
Yeah.
All right, we actually wound up going for like an hour or whatever anyway.
Yeah.
We wrap it up. So yeah, I'll do quick channel shoutouts first. I have a YouTube/Satonis. There hasn't been a video on there since November, but I am going to do one presumably this weekend. Nothing too fancy, just like yapping about the state of zero diffs right now, because it's a topic that can be talked about in isolation and just sort of look at what different symbols have, talk about playing zero diffs in general, that kind of thing. That's kind of like a lot of my videos are just like weird, narrow, topical yap sessions about this or that I feel like talking about. So yeah, we'll have one of those soon.
Yeah, I'm Build UVS on YouTube and Substack. Have not posted on either of them in a minute. I was looking at doing another rules topic today and got myself hung up on how I wanted to frame it one way or another. But yeah, these are I like these platforms and I should post on them more. I like to I guess shout out to Jet who posted I think a couple like PowerPoint kind of sessions about Rodan and then a review of the Godzilla characters that I thought were nice content if you want to watch some nice YouTube PowerPoint video essay kind of things. Those are out there and are good stuff.
And yeah, I'm running the YouTube channel for our VODs, 4checkscast on youtube.com. Episodes will go up on Monday. Feel free to go back and watch the playlist if you've missed anything. And yeah, I usually have them scheduled for posting on Mondays at noon EST.
Right there, it doesn't look like there's anyone to be raiding. Looks like Tam's not. If he was active tonight, he has stopped by now because it is pretty late. Yeah, thanks for hanging out and watching, and thanks for watching if you're watching the VODs, and thanks for the couple subs that we got today.
Yeah.
And yeah, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.